Welcome back to Alley Chats, the podcast that features interviews with awesome creators you can find in artist alleys at cons all over the world. You can follow Alley Chats on Facebook by searching for @AlleyChats. I plan to add other social media, but for now, that is the best place. If you'd like to be a guest or know somebody that should, or want to just communicate with me, you can send an email directly to me at rob@alleychatspodcast.com. If you or anyone you know has a crowdfunding effort about to launch or currently going, send them my way as well. I have another podcast called Go Fund This, where I interview people with crowdfunding campaigns for comics, tabletop games, books, films, really anything creative. I love to share cool projects and to help people reach their goals. You can connect with me via email directly to gofundthis@smgpods.com or through the email for this show, rob@alleychatspodcast.com. Today's guest is horror and dark fantasy author Maria DeVivo. Hi, Maria. Welcome to Alley Chats. I'm excited to have you on. Those of you listening, this is kind of a new era for Alley Chats. We've always had a lot of comic book people. Occasionally I get an author. Occasionally I get a musician or a filmmaker. Well, because of what I'm doing now, we're going to have a lot of authors joining the fray. So it should be authors and comic book people and filmmakers. I also have projects there. So, Maria, you have you're the first of the new era of authors joining me here, and I am so excited to talk to you. So, Maria DeVivo is our guest. Maria, why don't you tell people a little bit about you? We don't have to go into your books yet. Just talk about you a little bit. Who are you?
Who am I? That's a really good question.
I hope so.
I live in Florida. I'm a mom. I have a 14-year-old girl. I'm a teacher. I teach middle school. So if that gives you any insight of what my brain is like, I put up with that. I've been a teacher for 24 years now. And I teach English. So, author, the whole thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I've always been the goth girl, the weird girl, the strange girl. And a lot of that as we talk about books and stuff, you'll see, that makes sense. I'm totally into horror, totally into blood, guts, and gore, and totally into anything witches. So that's me. I'm weird.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you right up front. Did you love the season of American Horror Story when they were all witches? On Wednesdays, we wear black.
Oh my God. Yes. I
did a podcast about American Horror Story called Disturbed with my best friend, Chris, who died a couple of years ago. So I haven't done it since. But that particular season, we talked about all the time. What a great season. It was actually the only one I watched. So. Really?
Yeah.
I've got other recommendations for you.
Okay.
And in fact, the Freak Show season is amazing, and the Hotel season, I believe, is the one where characters from the Witch season come back. It's great when they come back. It's like, oh my gosh, it's wonderful. Okay,
right.
We're not talking about American Horror Story. We're talking about you. So let's get into your books. Let's start there. You've got a series. How many series do you do?
Okay, so, I have 4 series that I'm working on one. One is in progress. And then I have 3 others that are trilogies that are completely done.
Great. And so those are the ones on your website. And you've got YA into adults. I'm assuming the YA one is the Cole Elf Chronicles.
Yes.
So you got fantasy. Is there there's got to be horror elements in there, right?
In the Cole Elf?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I totally take Christmas because I'm obsessed with, I love Santa. When I watch the Macy's Day Parade at Thanksgiving and Santa comes, I'm hysterical crying and I don't know.
Are you like Buddy the Elf? You start screaming, it's Santa, it's him.
Yeah, I kind of am. It's very strange and it's very bizarre and it's very emotional. I think because I connected a lot with nostalgia stuff that, my past, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I'm really obsessed with the whole Krampus mythology and old Germanic folk tales. So I incorporated a lot of that into that series. So I took Christmas and I made it kind of dark and scary.
Very cool. The covers are cool. It's enough that I'm like, I I think I'm going to have to order this series. I think I'm going to have to read this. And now that you've told me, because there's a Santa hat in on one of the covers, I'm like, it's got me so intrigued. And I do love Krampus too. We went to Krampus Fest last year, and it was like, okay, this is it now. This is our Christmas we have to come to every year. It's amazing.
Right? Like, I don't know why in this country we don't have that. You know what I mean? Like it's not a thing, and it never was a thing. I wish it was a thing.
It's kind of becoming a thing in the big cities. It is. I mean, there were multiple Krampus Fests here in Chicago last year.
Oh, really?
And the crowd was pretty big, and lots of Krampus stuff, which, come on, that's fun. Altered Experience. Is this a YA or is this adult?
Okay. So I hate to compare it, but I call it like my Harry Potter of the horror world, because it starts out as YA and then it like grows up as the series moves on. So it definitely, by book 3, the conclusion of everything, it definitely is more intense and adult.
I love that. Cool. So, okay. I'm just giving people an overview here. Now, what you said, it's of the horror world. I see a zombie in here. You want to give us a little taste of what's going on with this?
I like to warp things. I like to change things, take what we know as familiar and comfortable and kind of twist it. So in the Altered, the zombie apocalypse happens. Yeah. People are eating each other and the virus and all of that, things that we know, but a cure is found. And people who were infected are now cured, but they're not human and they're not zombie. They're not, in fact, they're altered. And this is their story. Like,
they're changed because of it.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, it's not like, they were dead and they rose from the dead. It was like they were infected, kind of like a 28 days later type of thing.
Yeah.
But, they were cured. And now it's like, how are they fitting back into society? Like, I'm not hiring you for a job because you just ate my mom. So, like, they're the new race.
You've created a dilemma. Yeah. Do I hire you even though you ate my mom? But was that really you?
Right. Were you just being, driven by the forces of the virus and blah, 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 blah. This is very socially, motivated and all of that. And it does get intense. It does.
How uncomfortable if you're the guy that, the guy is like, okay, I'm going to hire you even though you ate my mom, but I know you were infected. And then at some point he gets some kind of test and it comes back that he was never infected. It's like, that's a very uncomfortable feeling.
That would definitely be.
I'm working my way up here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to ask you a question at this point.
Go.
About that. What is your favorite zombie? I'm going to say zombie, but 28 Days Later is technically not zombie. What is your favorite of that ilk movie?
It's, Dawn of the Dead remake.
Oh, the remake. That's the one with Tony Todd, right?
Tony Todd wasn't in that.
Yeah, he was.
No, he was not.
Dawn of the Dead. Oh, wait. I'm thinking Night of the Living Dead he did. You're thinking the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead with Sarah Polley.
Yes.
That was a hell of a movie. Yes. The fast zombie movie.
Right. And I think that was like one of the first times where we saw the fast moving zombies.
It was.
And scared the hell out of me. Like, totally scared me.
That opening scene when the little girl attacks the family and then is running like super speed. Yeah, that was terrifying stuff.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're not supposed to do that. you know?
Right.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you ever saw Return of the Living Dead, which is one of my favorites.
Yes.
All those rules, if you'd watched any of the stuff before that, those rules aren't there. Right. And the guy who made it broke all these rules. And now they're the things that everything is based on. Walking Dead, all of it took from Return of the Living Dead's concepts. And the guy who made that was, I believe, Dan O'Bannon worked with George Romero. And he wanted these changes made, but Romero wasn't too keen on it in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so O'Bannon broke free and did this movie. And then the second one sucked, but the first one's amazing.
First one's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
They just did a showing of it in LA, and I'm like, man, I wish I had money. I mean, I could watch it at home, but to go see it in a theater again, awesome.
Classic.
Awesome. Next book series, The Estrangle Trinity. Am I saying that right?
Estrangel. Like
Estrangel. Oh, like angel. Got it. Oh, and I see angel wings. Yes, The Estrangel Trinity. What is this?
Okay, so Estrangel. It starts out YA, new adult, kind of whatever. An angel is in heaven, and she is dispatched from God, right? She has to come down to earth, and she has to help a human carry out their life's mission. Well, this human happens to be a boy, her age, right? And they fall in love. And she breaks all the rules. And all hell breaks loose. So it's like the fall from grace for this angel. Yeah. And it gets definitely dark, sick, demented, and twisted. It's like biblical retellings and all that.
Fun.
Yeah, I told you I was weird. I told you. I warned you from jump.
But you know what? You're hitting all the buttons. The people that listen to this show love all these weird comics and everything that I love. They love the same weird books. You're not saying anything that's making me go, what a freak. You're making me say, oh, how have I not known you, Maria? That's what it's making me say.
Okay.
So, and you're a perfect fit for Four Horsemen Publishing, which so much of their catalog is horror, fantasy,
right?
You know, this like genre. Yeah. And you know what? I have yet to find something that I'm not like, oh yeah, this is sweet. This is an awesome book. So it makes sense that you're with Four Horsemen. You're not weird there. You found your people.
I'm home.
You're home.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want to get into the big one here, because this looks like this is you're on book 4 of it. Is that correct?
Well, book 4 is coming out at the end of September.
Okay, so you've got a book coming out. It's The Dawn of the Blood Witch is the series. Tell me about this. So you've got 3 out. 4 comes out in September, which is great. People can pre-order it. They're going to want to, because I don't want to spoil anything. Tell us what The Dawn of the Blood Witch is. Okay, so here's the deal, right? And it's funny that we were talking about American Horror Story before, because I kind of liken Blood Witch to American Horror Story in the fact that with American Horror Story, you know, each season is a different thing, right? It's a different theme, but they all connect. Yes. That's how Blood Witch is. The books are standalones, so they can be read. I know it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because it's going to be 10. They can be read in any order. Oh, interesting. Okay. But they share a world. They share a universe. So even though they're standalones, there are Easter eggs throughout every single book that connects everybody together. Interesting. Now, the plan is that the 10th book will have to be read last. Like that has to be, because that's going to be like the final culmination of everything. But the basic premise, witches are real, because we are. And these witches are trying to open up the portal to hell and let the old gods come back and reign supreme. There it is. There it is. There it is. Yeah, very interesting. Now, is this, I mean, I know it's witches, so people are going to assume it's horror, but is this like horror heavy, or is it more like when you read Anne Rice's Witches, the Mayfair Witches, it was, I mean, there's scary parts in it, but it's really, you're just immersed in this witch world. Is that how this is? Or is this more like, nope, these are scary as hell witches and we're going to burn it to the ground? No. It's more of like the psychological aspect of it. Like being, like you said, immersed in this world, immersed with these characters. And, there are moments like of blood, guts, and gore. I mean, there is, come on. Of course. Yeah. And there are some spicy moments as well. And the spice has meaning. Like it fits with the story. It's not just there to be gratuitous sex scenes. So it is very adult in that manner. Like there are the moments of scary and gory and bloody, but it's definitely heavy on the psychological. So I think, I mean, when we categorize it, it's not like horror, like, you know. Yeah, right. Right. It's occult horror. You know, cool. It's the, there we go. The horror is in the whole like
magical, mystical, witchy world.
I read a lot of horror myself, and but one of the things that attracts me so much is it does take you someplace. It gets a reaction, which is what I'm after, right? And it's so unfair in movies or books, comics. It's just slapped on with horror, and there are so many different ways to approach it. Like, I'm a huge Paul Tremblay fan.
Okay.
And his stuff, that is horror, but that is not blood and guts horror at all. And in fact, it's usually one page of his book that'll make me go, why did I read this? Because it's so scary. But the rest of the time, you're just like living in their world and trying to understand all this stuff. I love it. I love it so much, which is very Shirley Jackson, you know? Mm-hmm. And I can see, like, I'm kind of equating your books to that, where you're immersed, you're following these characters, you're getting involved with these characters. Yet we are running into a culmination at the end. Once again, it's rote to say it's Harry Potter, but it's Harry Potter. She did a great job with taking you on that YA adventure to all of a sudden, like, last couple books.
Where am I?
Yeah. And you could, I mean, yes, technically you don't read those out of order, but you kind of could, because they almost stand alone, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you kind of
this happened because of this, but if you read it out of order, you'd go like, oh, I understand. Whereas you can't read that last book.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you love witchy stuff. Do you know any witches? Are you a witch? You can say it. It's a safe space.
Yeah, I consider myself to be.
Little witchy? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's been with me ever since I was a little kid. I mean,
Yeah.
So being there.
Yeah, you just kind of, I mean, like, have you experienced, like, do you do runes or tarot? I mean, are you doing any of that kind of stuff, or?
I don't practice anything explicitly.
No.
No,
you just listen to Fleetwood Mac, and
I mean, I could jam to that, but when I was a kid, a teenager, high school, you're experimenting and things. So yeah, I got into ritualistic stuff younger, but
sure.
now it's more of like my own path. I do my own thing, and meditations and
sure. I mean, I know that it gets called witchy, but go back to the whole witch thing. Like in Salem, I have a woman who I'm friends with, who's an artist. Her great grandmother was one of the Salem witches that was killed.
Oh my God.
And she loves to talk all the witchy stuff, but then she's like, the reality was she owned some land, and these guys wanted the land and she wouldn't give it up. So they called her a witch and they killed her. And it's like, just because she's like exploring something different, or she's a different gender or whatever it is, doesn't mean she's a witch. And even if she is, what does that mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's more about being a free spirit and exploring your own thing, I think. And
absolutely.
I find the whole thing pretty fascinating. The crystals and the tarot and all those things that a lot of people poo-poo, and then you meet somebody who's really into it and you go, oh, wait a minute, there might be something here.
Something to it.
I have a friend that travels with crystals, because when she doesn't, she has troubles. And she's like, nope, I've got this was, a crystal that was blessed by some witches. And she said, everything changed after that. So I'm believing. Hey, what's the difference between that and anything else? I believe in Return of the Living Dead. I mean, come on.
Putting crystals in our bras, and
I don't have a bra. I know I should. Why did you bring that up? How embarrassing for me, Maria. It's called the bro, or the man's ear.
Sorry.
So have you ever been, look, so this show is called Alley Chats, right? I'm going to say this. Everybody, buy these books. Buy Dawn of the Blood Witch. Get 1, 2, 3. You're going to love them. And then get that fourth one on pre-order. The fourth one is called The Witch of the White Serpent, which amazing. You've got me.
Thank you.
You've got me on each of these. Witch of the Black Circle, Witch of the Red Thorn. I'm in. Witch of the Silver Locust. I mean, these are all great names, but The Witch of the White Serpent, I'm like, I got to get there. So order the trilogy, get that fourth book. Yeah.
And I'll sweeten the pot. They're all based on actual stories, like true events that happen in history.
You didn't say that. How awesome.
I know. That's a pivotal part of the whole series.
Wait, these are about witches? I'm kidding. Like you forgot to say that.
Right. But yeah, true stories, true events in history.
Okay. Pick one of them. Just give us a little overview of what that true event was.
Okay, so Black Circle, book number 1.
Yeah.
It's the 1980s Satanic Panic when everybody was finding.
You have me. You already have me.
Okay, so when I was growing up on Long Island in New York, I was a little kid, little itty bitty, and there was a killing that happened out on Long Island in Northport. This dude, Ricky Casso, he killed his friend, Gary Lars, in the woods, and he scooped out his eyes and made him say he loved Satan and like all crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I was a little kid, like this actually happened, and I'm like, oh my God. And all the big kids in the neighborhood were all talking about it. And I was fascinated. It was something, whoa, what? In the name
what is this, right?
The devil? And I went to Catholic school my whole life. So it was like double, up the ante. So I used that killing from Ricky Casso, the teenage dirtbag himself, as the backdrop for everything that happens in the story.
Fantastic. Yeah. Everything you said, I'm in. And if you were out on Long Island, you probably had all the weird cropsy stories. And
God.
That stuff is all wild. You have a lot of weirdness out there.
Montauk,
yeah. I could talk Montauk all day.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So many stories. And now, Stranger Things is loosely based on Montauk. And what's wild is I see stuff on Stranger Things. I'm like, I heard a story like that about Montauk 30 years ago. And now all of a sudden they're showing it on here and they're acting like, people are like, oh, how creative. I'm like, they're just taking those stories and
they're taking the stories.
And one of my favorite stories, which I'm not going to talk about on here, but one of my favorite stories that happened in Montauk, or supposedly, they have not touched on. And I'm just like, season 5, please.
Oh, yeah,
please,
it's probably coming. Yeah, it's going to come.
Please make it happen. Yeah. So there you go. Now you've sweetened the pot, as you said. These are based loosely on true stories. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
I love it. So I'll put links in the show notes so people can order these books. I highly encouraging supporting the authors we have on, just like I do anyone else we have on here. Let's face it, the reason I started Alley Chats was to bring this to people that, with COVID, they couldn't get out to Comic-Cons, or the Comic-Cons and pop culture cons weren't existing. Now they're back, but a lot of people are still not comfortable going, or in your case, maybe you're not in Chicago. They never get to see you live with this. Now they're exposed. So
thank you.
It's Maria DeVivo, and it's The Witch of the Black Circle, The Witch of the Red Thorn, The Witch, The Dawn of the Blood Witch is the series.
Yeah,
so
baby.
We're not done yet though, Maria. We're still talking.
Goodness. We're still talking.
So
let's go.
Do you ever go to any of these kinds of cons? Do you ever go to like horror cons or pop culture cons?
Dude, my schedule has been so jam-packed this year alone. I'm doing my next one coming up is Tampa Bay Comic-Con at the end of July. I just was done with Spookala. I do small shows. I do big shows. I love it. I love being with the people. I love being with my people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The cosplayers, the horror, I love being in the thick of it all. And I do as many shows as I can.
Fantastic. I love to hear that. I love everything you said there. Okay. So you get the ultimate question. I ask this of everybody on Alley Chats. This is the ultimate con.
Okay.
Anyone you could meet. Who is the one person that you would love to meet? It's a fantasy con. So, I've met some big names. I met Timothy Zahn at one. It was amazing. Who is that one person you would love to meet?
Dead or alive? Do they have
You know what? I didn't put restrictions on this. Plus, you deal with witches and zombies, dead or alive. What does that mean?
Right? Okay. Oh man, there's there's a list, right? There's so many.
I want one.
One?
I want the one that if they were at London Comic-Con, but you weren't, you saw that name was there and you went, crap, I have to go.
This is going to sound lame though.
Mm-mm.
It's not. I'd really like to see Anne Rice.
That's not lame at all. I would.
She's dead.
I would. I don't care. Zombie Anne Rice. I would still go. I would love to see Anne Rice. Anne Rice would be an amazing one. I imagine that she would be fascinating.
Yeah,
fact, maybe I'll augment this and say it's not just the one person you get to meet. Like, oh, hey, I got your signature. Move along. But you actually get to go and have a little conversation with.
Yeah, I think it would be Anne, because she really did. Like, I just remember, like, obviously our teenage years have a lasting effect on
yes.
us and like, who we become as people. And I read all her books, and the witch books that had a big influence on me, a big influence on my writing. And like, I would just, love to be like, hey, thank you.
Right.
Thanks for pushing.
I'd want to ask her how witchy she is. Let me talk to you about being a witch. She's got great stories that never made it into books.
Of course.
You want to hear a cool Anne Rice thing?
Oh.
I heard it on another podcast. This guy was talking about how he went into a bookstore, a used bookstore, and he was looking through and he grabbed an Anne Rice book. And it was one of them that she had owned. And the way you can tell is she was famous for writing notes, handwriting notes all through the books.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if it was actually an Anne Rice book. It was a book, but it was it was like a horror book. But she had written all over it. Yeah, how cool is that?
Oh my God.
You know what would be cool is it would be like a director's commentary. You should do this. Do a special edition on one of your books where you write notes about your book all over it. Oh my God. That's the book I want to get.
See, now you just got me thinking, because, all right, so you want to hear a secret?
I do want to hear a secret. Okay. You know what? Nobody's listening to this show, so perfect.
Okay. Well, it's not really like a secret, but whatever. I'm going on a cruise in December. And I was planning on taking just like a bunch of my books and kind of like sneaking them into the library.
Totally.
And I think I'm going to do the Anne Rice trick, and I'm just going to write some notes and blah, 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 and sign the front and,
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. When she wasn't doing it for promotion, but it's a great little promotion, isn't it?
No, right? Like, hey, I'm going to use it to my advantage. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like your private hidden signature series. I love it.
Oh, yes. Oh, special edition. Put it on eBay.
Yes.
And I'm being famous. No, I'm just kidding.
Hopefully still alive, because Anne Rice doesn't know that we're talking about her. Although maybe she does. Maybe she does.
She does.
All right, Maria, that was it. Thank you so much for being on Alley Chats. Once again, everybody listening, follow Maria. I'll put her links in the show notes. Actually, Maria, what's the best place? Just give me one of your social medias. What's the best place people can interact with you?
Okay. My link tree is my end all and be all. So it's just like Linktree / Maria DeVivo. That's it.
Right. And it's MariaDeVivo. And it will be in the show notes as well. Makes it really easy for people, but some people are auditory learners and they like to hear it. So yeah, go to her Linktree and engage with Maria. She, as you can tell, is a lot of fun to talk to. Maria, thank you so much. And we'll see you in the alleys. That sounded weird.
I like that, though.
Thanks again, Maria, for sharing about your different book series and for the fun conversation. I cannot wait to have you back on one of my other podcasts. I know we have a lot more to talk about. You can find a link to Maria's books on the Four Horsemen Publications website or any other links that we discussed in the show notes. If you or anyone you know wants to guest on Alley Chats, send them my way. You can connect with me through the Alley Chats Facebook page or via email directly to rob@alleychatspodcast.com. Please rate and review Alley Chats wherever you listen to this podcast. It really helps other people find the show, which helps spreads the word about my amazing guests. Alley Chats is a production of Southgate Media Group, hosted, edited, and produced by me, Rob Southgate. Thanks so much for listening to Alley Chats.